So, La Chimera is the story of Arthur, a young, I'm going to say archaeologist turned grave robber in 1980s Italy. Arthur is relatively newly single. His partner Beniamina has functionally gone missing, which is a real struggle for Arthur because Arthur has a gift of finding missing things to functionally divine, almost have like sort of vision when he is near a grave site, which is a big deal in 1980s Italy because grave robbing is the hot new thing. All these old tombs from hundreds of years ago that were full of gems and jewels and statues and ornate objects, they were previously seen as something you can't take, sacred items, but it's the 80s and capitalism has turned, and now people are finding that robbing tombs is a good way to get a little extra money. Arthur has just escaped from jail. He's out of jail, I should say, hasn't escaped. Has kind of this ratty suit, and he arrives back to his hut in Italy. He goes and meets Beniamina's mother, who he still has kind of a connection with because she misses her daughter. Finds some of his old friends who are into grave robbing, and kind of gets back to work. When suddenly, one day, he digs into a gravesite that where he discovers something uniquely sacred to him personally, and that's when he begins to find that he's sort of haunted by something larger, something bigger. La Chimera is a melancholy, magical realism film. Mark Kermode called it a caper. I think I kind of agree with that in the loosest sort of way. It is 2 hours, 10 minutes. It is nearly all in Italian and stars Josh O'Connor as Arthur. It is bold cinema in the best way. And I'm excited to talk about it. Annie, what did you think of La Chimera?
There's a lot of things I like about this. There's some things that don't quite work. It's a little long. The pacing suffers a little bit, but it does have some fun moments. So it's called La Chimera. Well, there's several reasons. But a chimera can mean two things. It can mean something made of two kind of different parts. Like the beast in antiquity is like head of a lion, tail of a snake, kind of thing. And it's also kind of an impossible dream. And Josh O'Connor's character Arthur embodies this. When we first meet him, he's kind of asleep on a train. He's just been bailed out of prison after doing a little bit of time for being caught grave robbing, and we see him kind of wake up in this train car. There's some young women on it, and they start chatting a little bit. He flirts with them around, but then he immediately kind of gets into an altercation with the cigarette guy who's selling stuff on the train, and immediately kind of everyone is scared of this guy. So we see two ends to this person where he can be nice and sweet, but also kind of a bit of a thug. And he's apparently pretty good at this kind of a little bit of a mafia type operation where he's helping this team of bandits find ancient Etruscan graves, rob them, take them to a buyer. Meanwhile, he again is missing the love of his life, Beniamina, and some people are really fond of Arthur, so other people are not. He's kind of living in two worlds, trying to be both a good man and a criminal. Is a little bit of both. Has no reverence for these ancient burial sites, and that for him it's all about the money. It's a really interesting character portrayal in the style of kind of that this movie's created in.
Yeah, and O'Connor's such a great pick for Arthur, this kind of like frustrated young man who like clearly does not really like the world that he's in, and like actively chases something different, like something a bit more mystical, and has this gift. And I love the way that's kind of presented in the movie. I know I said magical realism, and for the most part, it's a grounded feature. I mean, it's in Italy, and it's shot beautifully. Written and directed by Alice Rohrwacher, Alice Rohrwacher, I've heard it pronounced. She is from Italy natively, and she really wanted to use big lenses, get like big shots of landscapes, lots of like good film grain, and like present a world that like feels like it's right out of a time capsule. And like that's such a great place for our characters, these kind of grave robbers, to be robbing graves, right? Like they are literally traveling back through time when they like enter one of these like grave sites that Arthur finds, because nobody has been in it for years. Like, and they have to evade the police to do that, right? Like, which is where you get kind of these caper moments. But as they like travel into these and like see these unique unique paintings on walls and carvings. Like they're completely normal individuals. In fact, some of them look almost homeless, right? They're wearing like sandals and ratty shorts, and Arthur's got this goofy suit that looks like it has just been through hell and back, right? He's still wearing uniquely white. Love it. And I love that like the film gives Arthur this gift that we see, this bit of magic that he can kind of like divine where these things are. And then when you actually uncover these artifacts, like they feel so mythical in and of themselves. And then of course, to lean into the capitalism part of it, these grave robbers take these things and sell them to a art dealer, basically. That's how Arthur ends up in prison at the beginning of the film, getting caught doing that. Like, so they're just turning around and flipping them to the highest bidder, who's immediately going to spend a bunch of money, and they'll be on their way. And they say in the film, you know, you shouldn't be worried about these things being sacred because they're just old. They're like a gift from the dead to us. You know, they're meant. We were meant to find these. Like this is the way it's meant to be. And there's this bit of like fate and destiny and like what is ordained in the divine in there that's like just subtle enough, I think, across these big Tuscan landscapes to like, I think, really transport people. Additionally, I think it can be hard to connect to. At 2 hours, 10 minutes, it's a bit of a long feature and it's not exactly action packed. You know, it's a simple script. It's mostly subtitles. I think a lot of people would just get a few minutes into this and think, okay, well, when's it going to get going? When are we going to get here? And I think I had a bit of that experience. I definitely had heard a lot of good stuff about this. I watched it. I came away thinking, wow, that was a bit more understated than I thought. And it's probably worth a second viewing, I think, for me to kind of really dig into what's going on in La Chimera.
Yeah, it takes a while to get going. When it hits the second act, it's a lot of fun. That's where normally your fun and games part of the movie is, and that's where we have a lot of montages of them robbing graves, avoiding the police, these kinds of fun things. The setup takes a while. I wanted to point out another character called Italia, played by Carol Duarte. Who she's living in this house with Benjamina's mother. She's like a live-in maid who's living there for free, but is getting singing lessons. She's not a very good singer, but they're kind of bartering services. And her and Arthur seem like they kind of might have a romance going. But they're very different characters. She's a very kind of morally centric person, and he's very morally dubious. But one of the things that the film does is it's surrounding these people in culture. Like she's a singer. The Flora, that Benjamina's mother, is the singing teacher, and then they're all these artifacts that they're robbing. They're works of art, and so I think one of the kind of themes we have is this: the way all these people ignore all the arts around them, and how the arts are ignored in general in favor of like capitalistic goals. So it's a really kind of interesting theme that goes on. But the actress that plays Italia is a very important character and a lot of fun.
Overall, like I really love this feeling of like yearning and searching for something, right? That like pervades La Chimera. Like Josh O'Connor so perfectly fits as this like frustrated young man who just cannot seem to find the thing he's really looking for, which is this kind of lost love. And he's finding all these representations of love for what people had for others, their loved ones that they buried, their loved ones that they've left behind. Like he can find all of these things, but he cannot ultimately like produce the destiny that he himself is looking for, and it haunts him. And this dreamlike quality that some of these characters interact with him in, even in a couple of like really clever sequences, when he's actually sleeping and dreaming, like I think is like really clever. And that's the stuff that grounds the movie the most. Those are the moments that are like lightning rods for me. Some of the quieter stuff, some of the smaller stuff, a little slow for me personally. Like I said, 2 hours, 10 minutes felt a little long for La Chimera. I wish I could have trimmed 15 minutes in there somewhere, but tons of fun. It's hard to believe O'Connor shot this in between, or he shot Challengers in between this. Apparently they shot half this movie and then like broke for the weather, and he flew to the States and shot all of Challengers and then came back and shot the other half of this movie. And it's weird looking at it because you would never know that he is like Rip Tone Tennis Man like he is in Challengers, but I guess that's the magic of acting. Really stellar work. Like it's small, intimate. Not only did I like this, I think I'd probably like to go see Alicia's next project in a theater if I can, because I watched this at home. It's like $7 VOD. And I guess we should get to recommendations.
Definitely needs the focus of a theater, yeah.
Yeah. Any other thoughts on this one for recommendations, Andy?
Well, I wanted to talk about how this is, takes place in the Italian countryside, which is usually a very romantic thing, but it's like actually in the Italian countryside and features real Italian people. And it makes me laugh at portrayals such as like House of Gucci, where we had Jared Leto doing this like ridiculous over the top Italian accent. And then like, I don't remember the last time I saw like a movie where Italian people were just kind of everyday Italian people were portrayed, because all these, like, they got a gang of people that dig they're digging graves and having fun, eating together, going to parties, dancing. It's all in Italian, and Josh O'Connor doesn't speak Italian, but he learned a good deal for this. I read in an interview. He says he learned enough to get by, but it's very convincing. He sounds like he's been speaking it for a long time. But it was just interesting to just kind of have a more authentic portrayal of Italian people than what we kind of get in the States a lot of times.
Yeah, a fascinating dive. I had no idea he took this role not actually speaking the language. That's even more crazy, because he doesn't have any other, like, I should say, actors of notable fame acting among, like, he's definitely the title card feature player here. So like he had to go into this knowing, all right, I'm going to be in a place I've never been, acting with people I definitely don't have a method worked out with. Like, it's ambitious. I like it. I like La Chimera. I think I'm ready to recommend it. Andy, would you recommend La Chimera?
I would recommend it to my fellow film heads, lovers of independent and bold cinema. It isn't a very interesting character portrayal of this person who seeks to find lost things, but is lost himself, and is kind of on a journey of self-discovery, self-reflection. Very interesting setting. It is a little bit long. It could probably trim 15-20 minutes, but it's a fun film to talk about and think about and discuss after you've seen it.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I think for those who like bold cinema, like something unique and different, like, I think it's a great time. I do wish I'd caught it in a theater. Like Andy said, I think the extra focus of just that would have helped me a bit, but I'll have to revisit it. I think I think uniquely, like the themes of the film, me going back after some time and digging this back out is going to give me like a different view than I had before, in the best way. I don't mean that to be, full of myself or anything, but like, I don't know. I think there's a bit of magic in this movie, and I really enjoyed it. And the more I think about it, the more I think, man, it really is something clever. I like it. Rohrwacher's great. Josh O'Connor's great. Worth your time. And with that, God, we should wrap up the show. That is already episode 254, nearly behind us. Andy, what are we watching next week?
We're going to be checking out In a Violent Nature, which is a new horror film that's a slasher from the perspective of the slasher himself, the killer themselves. We've heard a lot of buzz about. Apparently, it's brutal, it's gory, it's graphic, but it's kind of an alternate take on the slasher genre. So we're excited to see that. And then we're going to be looking for something else on streaming. Streaming offerings are few and far between. Possibly things like Boy Kills World or The First Omen, or some other things. Another just FYI release, Robot Dreams, the animated film, comes out this Friday as well, if you're interested in that for the kids. And upcoming in first week in June will be this. We're probably not going to watch these because we're taking that week off, but Bad Boys Ride or Die and The Watchers will be out June 7th.
Yeah, really interested in a violent nature. I tell you, the only thing I think I'm scared of in that movie is the pacing, because every trailer I've seen is some beautiful shots, but also like just following a guy walking, and it's like agonizingly slow. And I'm like, if this is all that's going on for 90 minutes, I'm taking a nap. You can kill as many teens as you want. But hopefully something exciting is happening in there. We'll find something else for streaming. Watch out, Andy. These slow weeks, I'm telling you, you might be watching Reagan. We're covering Reagan for the podcast.
No, don't make it
triple
happen.
Feature. Yeah. Anyway, if you enjoyed the show today, if you like what we're doing here on Off Script, if you maybe have seen us before, or you want to see what we got going on after this, the best way to do that is just subscribe to the show wherever you're seeing this. If you're seeing this clip, if you're seeing our individual review, if you're seeing the full episode, if you're listening on iTunes or Spotify or Google Play or iHeartMedia, wherever you're at, there's a subscription button somewhere, and I know you can hit it. I know you're more than capable. You listen to this whole show, why not, right? Give us a follow and let us know what you thought of the show. You can rate and review if you like. You can leave a comment where applicable. We love the feedback. We love that you guys like listening and watching movies like we listening to and watching watching movies like we do. I got to get out of here. You can follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartMedia, Google Play is where the audio podcast is, all the usual places you may be listening to us there right now. You can find the episodes on YouTube. Tons of good things happening on the YouTube page. Come check us out over there, and we'll be back next week with more from Off Script Film Review, the home of Bold Cinema. I'm Zach Lewis.
And I'm Dr. Draper.
Thanks for watching.